offense, defense, and special teams cooking right before going into the playoffs? I'll take 2 of those, please. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so the Dallas Cowboys have officially sewn up the division title for the NFC East in 2023, and to be quite honest, they didn't even need to beat the Washington Commanders to do so, because the Eagles laid a complete goose egg over there against the Giants, so much so to the point where they had to bench Jalen Hurts and just take the starters out and just call it a day. But the Cowboys took care of business in the exact fashion that you would want to see these gentlemen take care of business in, because, ladies and gentlemen, this was not just a Week 18 game, one game ahead of the playoff season. This was a meaningful game for the reasons that we as Cowboys fans should be very familiar with. Year after year, we see the Cowboys limp into the playoffs, or they'll have a weak set of competition heading into the playoffs, and we really don't know exactly who this team is. Last year, they lost against the Washington Commanders, and everybody pretty much called that they were going to be a one and done in the playoffs after that happened. And this type of thing has happened to the Cowboys over and over again throughout the course of history, where we finally get to December, January, and we see the team start to slow down a little bit. This is the first time in ages that I can tell you as a Cowboys fan, this team looks playoff ready. They look scary. They look like a team that is ready to compete in all 3 phases. We didn't see a bunch of boneheaded penalties. That was definitely something I was keeping an eye on, is the fact that we didn't get a lot of penalties called on us. I think if anything, we had more offensive penalties this game than defensive penalties. But overall, the team's discipline was where it needed to be. Obviously, it wasn't a close game, so there wasn't any situations where we had to really take a look at Mike McCarthy's game management skills or anything like that. Dak Prescott played pretty much perfectly, sans one tipped interception pass, which, I mean, what can you do about that? If it gets tipped at a line of scrimmage, it's pretty much free game. Can't really get mad at anybody about that. But besides that tip pass interception, Dak was lights out all game long. You can see Cooper Rush is cleaning up right now in garbage time, so you know it must have been a pretty good day for the Cowboys familia. All right, but the most important thing, outside of the fact that Dak Prescott has continued to prove that he should 100% be the MVP in the National Football League, I have no clue why Lamar Jackson has just run away with the MVP trophy for some reason. They are just pretty much giving it to this dude. He didn't have to play the game this week. They pretty much gave it to him after last week when they beat Miami. I understand Baltimore has beat some very, very game teams. They've beat plenty of playoff teams. But I will also say that Baltimore's defense is a large reason that that's happening, bro. I think it's just completely unfair, and they're not doing their due diligence as voters to just essentially wrap the award up and give it to Lamar Jackson, even though there were still meaningful games to be played this week for certain teams, including one of the teams that has the second best record in the NFC, with the quarterback that's been playing the best quarterback out of anybody all year long. I don't understand. I feel like if Dak Prescott was on any other team, this wouldn't be a thing. We wouldn't have to worry about the media just writing him off because of one game against the Buffalo Bills, because that's when it happened, guys. It seemed like that Buffalo Bills game happened and they completely wrote Dak off for the MVP. But what's strange for me is we saw the 49ers get the brakes beat off of them by the Baltimore Ravens, yet Christian McCaffrey's name is still very high up in that MVP race, and a lot of people are bringing his name up and juxtaposing him to Lamar Jackson. Why is it that Christian McCaffrey's team can get blown to smithereens? His impact is honestly less than that of Dak Prescott. I'm not saying that Christian McCaffrey doesn't have a huge impact on his team, but he has all pros at other levels on his team as well. He has all-pro tight end, all-pro receiver. He has all pros everywhere on that offense, right? But Christian McCaffrey's team can have a bad game. The Buffalo Bills blew the Cowboys out. Dak Prescott didn't necessarily play just a terrible game that game. And then all of a sudden, he's just out of the MVP voting because of that one singular game. I don't like it. And don't worry, we're going to spend more time on that this week. I'm going to have a couple of videos come out pretty much trying to, I guess, plead Dak Prescott's MVP case. You already know the next video we're going to have concerning that is comparing him to the guy that they're saying is just running away with the MVP. And one last note before we talk about the rest of this game. If they give Lamar Jackson the MVP this year, the MVP voters are going to completely ruin all the criteria for winning MVP. All that stuff that we've been seeing people talk about over the years, the stuff that even Joy Taylor, Booby Taylor would bring up, all the anomalous numbers, anomalous stats, you have to be leading in some type of statistical category. All this stuff. The only thing Lamar Jackson is checking as far as boxes go is the fact that his team has the best record in the league. He's pretty much middle of the pack, top 10 in a lot of the categories that concern him as a quarterback, but Dak Prescott is the top 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 quarterback in pretty much any statistical category you can look at for a QB. The voters are going to completely ruin the credibility of this award by giving it to Lamar Jackson. Why they just want to give it to him so easily, I have no clue. But they're going to ruin the credibility of this award. They're going to ruin the criteria, meaning now they're going to muck up the process. Now, what is an MVP? What do you have to do to win an MVP? Is the MVP simply the best player or the leader of the team with the best record? Is that what the MVP is now? If that's the case, then it's turned more into the NBA MVP award. Whereas in years past, we can look at each person who won the MVP, and you could say that each one of those individuals probably played the best at their position out of anybody else that was available. The Patrick Mahomes, the Aaron Rodgers. These guys were the best quarterbacks in those years that they won the MVP. Even Matt Ryan, when he got him an MVP award, he was the best quarterback. We're playing some of the best football out of any quarterback that year for the Atlanta Falcons. Dak Prescott is doing exactly that, has 4,200 passing yards, 34 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and for some reason, he's been completely dismissed from the MVP conversation. I know, I got onto a little rant about that. I'm going to leave it alone until later this week. I've been moving, stuff been a little bit weird. I've been got like a weird setup right now. I'm going to fix this, but guys, the Cowboys did exactly what I want to see them do today. Mike McCarthy called this game with purpose. Everything that he did in this game today had purpose. Why do I say that? It's very simple. A couple of things very much so stood out to me. For one, Tony Pollard is running the ball with a lot more intention for the last week or two. He's been actually really trying to hit holes. He's been hitting the holes, and he's been getting through them joints, and he's been running with power and with intention. He's running like, I don't care if I get hurt on this particular play. And that's all I've been saying all year long is Tony Pollard hasn't been terrible. He hasn't been good. He's just been very, very replaceably average. That's the main point I've been making as far as Tony Pollard over the last few weeks is if he doesn't mentally get himself back in the game, because I don't feel like it's a physical thing. I feel like it's mental for him at this point. If he isn't where he needs to be mentally, the Cowboys are going to have some issues in the playoffs because you need a run game in the playoffs. And Mike McCarthy called this game like he knew we need a run game in the playoffs. Even when Rico Dowdle dropped the pass, they came right back to him on the next play with pretty much the same type of pass in the same area of the field. And he got, it looked like the same type of yardage he would have gotten had he caught the pass that he dropped. Why was that important? Because it's building confidence. It's making sure that you're putting the onus on your players to know we're going to need you. So we're not going to avoid you when you make a mistake. At this point in the season, if you're out on this field, you're out here for a reason. We're going to need you. We need your mind to be completely locked in, and we need you to know that we trust you, because we have to trust you, because if we're going to make the Super Bowl run, all of those players have to be on the same page with each other, guys. And the way Mike McCarthy called this game, specifically that one drive, I believe it was the second scoring drive for the Cowboys that made them go up 14-7 or 14-10 or whatever it may have been, 14-10. Tony Pollard ran the ball like 4 or 5 times on that drive, and each run was a gash. The offensive line was creating holes. Tony Pollard was hitting those holes, and he was running with power and bad intentions, and that's exactly all I wanted to see, bro. I understand he's not going to be Adrian Peterson out there. He's not going to be Sean Alexander. He's not going to be LaDainian Tomlinson, but at least Give us everything that you possibly have. Make the easy plays. Take the holes when they're there. And his vision definitely looked like it was much improved this game, because I didn't see him take any weird angles or try to take the wrong gaps or anything like that. So Tony Pollard and the running game in general was the main thing that I took away from this game. The team is operating at a top level in all three phases. We got a punt block that set the offense up for another scoring drive, and the offense was lights out today. All right. Either way, man, I am 100% ready for the playoffs. I hope y'all ready for the playoffs too, bro. I will see y'all all this week. We're going to have a lot of videos coming out this week, probably some double uploads throughout the week as well. Hopefully you guys enjoy everything. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. There's still a ton of you guys watching these videos every single day, and you're not subscribed. I promise you ain't nothing going to change. We're going to keep the same exact formula we got going here. Yes, we're a Cowboys channel. Yes, we still going to speak the truth. Yes, you should subscribe. Y'all know how we always in these videos, how them Cowboys.
Calling me, texting me, paging me, asking me, am I still them boys? Y'all usually check on me. Listen. I'm still them boys. Woo,